Good morning, friend, and welcome back to my channel. You're actually joining me for my coffee this morning, which is unusual. One, I slept in by a half hour, which I don't usually do. And two, I'm not really sure how much child-free vlog time I'm gonna get today, because yesterday did not get off to the best start, and now we're gonna have to figure out what to do about that. So we went to the playground, as we usually do. We walked to the grocery store, as we usually do. On our way back from the grocery store, we were maybe like a mile and a half, maybe a mile from our neighborhood/house. And my car just stopped driving. Like, we were driving, and then all of a sudden, we were not anymore. And my car died so aggressively that I couldn't even put my hazards on, or I don't think I could. I couldn't hear them turning on. Nothing was happening when I put them on. We were on a road that was like 55 miles per hour. And here I am thinking like, oh my gosh, no one's gonna know that I am a stopped vehicle. We're gonna get crashed into in the back. I had my son with me. It was a little terrifying. I'm not gonna lie, it was a little terrifying. I like rolled my window down. I was like using my hand to like wave people around. And then of course, as a woman in America, I'm thinking like, oh no, now someone's gonna know that like I'm a woman in distress, and God only knows like what else that could bring with it. And we're on like a back road in the middle of nowhere, North Carolina. And this man stops, which I'm actually really grateful he did. He came up to my window. He's like, do you want me to, can you get it into neutral? I can help push you out of the road, which was so kind of him, but I couldn't even get the car turned on enough to put it into neutral. Like the gear shift would not move. And my kiddo, who is an actual champ, was handling this like a real dude. Like he was just like, more pretzels, please, Mom. And so finally I did get my car turned on enough to like shift it into reverse, and I was on enough of an incline, and I was right by, this is all like very kismet, because if we had been in any other place, I don't know what would have happened, but we were on enough of an incline, and I was like just positioned so that the car wouldn't drive forwards or backwards, but if I put it in reverse, it was like rolling backwards, and I was able to like roll myself back into a parking lot, and where I sat. And I finished reading my book while we waited for my husband to come and rescue us. And he works like 25 minutes away from where we were. So I really did finish reading my book. Is that crazy? My kiddo was happy playing with his little laptop in the back seat, eating pretzels. And I finished reading my book, and we swapped cars. I took my kid home. He got my car towed. It's at the shop. We've yet to hear what it is. We've yet to hear like what the diagnostic is. Our initial assumption is that it's probably the alternator. I'm hoping it's the alternator and not something else, but I don't know if that's something to hope for. I actually don't know very much about cars, but I've had an alternator go bad in a car before. In fact, that's how my husband and I started dating. That's a funny story. 21 years ago, but that's how we started dating. But anyway, so you joined me with my coffee. I have some work to do. We're supposed to have a play date this morning. We became friends with, this is just like, I feel like I'm in a TV show sometimes when things like this happen. But I had, once again, literally journaled/prayed, because I pray in a journal. I was desperate. Like this sounds horrible and really, it doesn't make me look very good. It sounds desperate and does not make me look very good. But I was really getting to a place where I felt entirely too isolated. And like I said, we live in the middle of nowhere. And we live thankfully close enough to my family that like we can drive out to my family, but it's like a 35, 40-minute drive. It's not something that's easy to do. They're not right around the corner. And so I had prayed that I was like, I need community. Like I need a village. I need friends with children Wade's age. And like, he needs this socialization, so do I. And I made a promise to myself that I would start going to like story times and things like that, because you've got to do your part, right? You've got to do your part. And I had met, I think I told you guys, like a woman in the Walmart parking lot like a couple of weeks ago, and made her be my friend. And we never got to actually link up because our kids had been sick. Well, then I went to story time, and Wade and this little girl were like playing really nicely together. And the mom was like, are we friends now? Like, is this how this works? Like, do we get to be friends? And I was like, yes, let's please be friends. And she actually lives in my neighborhood. So did the Walmart friend. Let's just asterisk on that. And we get home, she'd messaged me on Facebook and was like, okay, I have a couple of other mom friends that like, we're all individually friends. I'm gonna like link us all together so we can be like friends. And she did. And it was like, we've been friends our whole lives. Like there's 4 of us moms. 4 of us? Yeah, there's 4 of us moms. I need to drink a cup of coffee. We all live in the area. All of our kids are the same age. And one of them actually works from home with her toddler as well. And it just, I don't know how to explain how different it makes my heart feel to have this kind of community in my area with like people that I actually get along with. And I don't know, it feels really good. And one of the moms has something going on tomorrow that's like a little stressful for her. So she's like, let's all have a play date at my house on Tuesday because then it'll take my mind off what's going on Wednesday. And I was like, deal, done. Luckily she lives right around the corner from where my husband works. So I'll drop him off, use his car, go to the play date. But it'll be an interesting week without a vehicle. And let's all pray, double pray, extra pray, hard pray, that this is not an extremely expensive fix because it's already been a very expensive year. I feel like everyone feels that way. I feel like the way the economy is right now, I'm like, why is it so expensive to be alive? This is ridiculous. But anyway, that was a lot of rambling for very first thing in the morning. Welcome to my TED Talk. Let's get on with the day. Cheers. Mom, run.
You need to pee in the car?
Right here. Got it.
No.
I feel like we're just having like a chaotic start to the week. And so this vlog will maybe all over the place because we just got back from a play date. Obviously I didn't record that because we were with other children and not really something I planned to put on the internet, but it was really nice to hang out with the other ladies. I feel like all of the kids were kind of like, I don't know. Wade was just in such a rare form to the fact that like we tried to go and walk around Walmart before we went to the play date, walked in, and then I was that parent who had to do like the football hold on my child and like grab his hands to keep him from hitting me as we were walking through the parking lot. And I thought about that meme that was like, you know, I see this guy walking out of a store with a screaming toddler and he makes eye contact with me and it's like, he's mine. Like if I was gonna steal one, it wouldn't be this asshole. Because that like unlocked a new fear for me. It's like it never occurred to me that someone might see me with my screaming, flailing toddler and assume I'm taking somebody else's child. And then of course there's my old lady who just, between her and the toddler, I'm getting yelled at all day. I'm getting yelled at all day. And I'm very grateful to be able to be home with my child and her children. But good Lord. I will say though, because I had to take my husband to work this morning, we needed to stop at the store really quickly on our way in. And the route to do that was the same turn I used to make to take my son to daycare on the way to work for me when he was in the first year of his life. And as we turned onto the street, I was like overwhelmed with this reminder of what that used to feel like. And it was hard to feel that way, but it was also really good for me to be reminded of what that feels like because I've made it no secret, this is hard. Trying to work and have my son home, especially as a wild and crazy toddler, is tricky. It is tough. There are many days that at the end of it, I feel like I'm going to lose my mind. In fact, 90% of the time by 3 p.m., I'm singing Zippity Doo Dah. It's not the easiest thing I've ever done in my life. But being reminded of what it felt like to drop my son off every day, to go be in an office all day long. Obviously, there are pros and cons to that type of situation. There are pros and cons to no matter which route you go. I enjoyed having the separation, not from him, but like the separation of like my identities in my mind. But it was agony to leave him in somebody else's care all day long. And then I would get these text messages that were like, you know, not anything for me to go pick him up, but like, hey, he's having a hard day. Is there anything that you normally do at home that makes him feel more comfortable or whatever? And it's just like the number of times VPs found me crying in a bathroom, I've lost count. There was even one time I got in a text message. I was also like newly postpartum. I was also dealing with postpartum anxiety pretty severely, untreated for about 6 months. And
I was working on a project, got a text message from the school, or the daycare, and I was like dealing with those emotions, but also still working on a very tight deadline for this project. And a VP walked in to like go over pieces of it with me, and she needed to like review what I was doing and sign off before I could like move on to the next stage. And she walked in, she made eye contact with me, and I said, please ignore the fact that I'm crying. God bless this woman. She completely ignored the fact that I was crying. And in the best way, like not in a cold, heartless way. Like she just knew my situation so well that like she knew in that moment, if I talked about it, it was only gonna completely unravel me, and I needed to like focus on what I was doing to get myself to the other side of it. This woman and I, we didn't like work together. I was not in her department, but we collaborated enough that like, even now when I go back to visit my husband and I see her, she like takes such a warm like approach to my son. And in fact, we were just there last week, and she like brings him back into her office. And I swear this kid that like ended up looking like he had gone trick-or-treating, because everybody in the office, people that I worked with and people that I didn't, were all just like giving him things. But she was just, if you are a working parent, whether you're home with your children or you are working and putting your child in some type of childcare, I feel you. Also, honestly, like even if you're just like a full-time, let me remove that from my sentence. Even if you are a full-time stay-at-home mom, your job is to solely care for your child. It does not matter which category you fall into. It's all really hard in very different ways. Okay. And I think it's been interesting for me to have experienced being a working parent with my child in full-time care and a working parent having my child home all of the time. I can tell you that it's not easy either way you go. So please don't ever let anybody ever tell you that one is better than the other. You have to find the route that feels most comfortable to your heart and most works best for you and your lifestyle, your family, and there are no rights and no wrongs when it comes to this, in my opinion. So I don't know how I got off on that tangent, but anyway, driving onto the road and being reminded of how agonizing it felt to leave my kid every morning. It didn't ever get any easier. It didn't get any easier. I could have a whole conversation without getting interrupted 55,000 times or like having my train of thought derailed. But I still think I would choose this. But again, a lot of rambling today. Today's just gonna be a long chatty vlog, and I hope that's okay with you, because I apparently am feeling very chatty. But that all being said, I need to wash this bowl, because are you at all surprised? I doubt you're surprised, because I am a creature of habit. But I'm gonna make my cucumber salad again, because actually, am I gonna do that, or am I gonna have cucumber salad, or am I gonna have a leftover burrito bowl? Because I made the burrito mix last night, and I could have a burrito bowl, which would require a lot less prep, which means I could do more work right now while Wade is awake and eating his lunch. I think I'm gonna do that. Because honestly, rice is not supposed to keep that long in the fridge. Have you guys heard? What are you doing? Have you heard the drama about like leftover rice? There's apparently, like, I don't want to spread misinformation, but I'm getting the understanding that like people die from leftover rice. I need to do more research on this situation, but apparently you're not really supposed to be keeping rice left over, which confuses me a little bit, because so many of those like meal prep meals have rice in them. I'm a big fan of a casserole. Casserole generally has rice in them. I always make like rice or couscous, leave it in the fridge, and then like eat it as a side. A lot of times when we were living in Bowie's Creek, I would make a big batch of chicken, a big batch of like, I don't know, some kind of rice, some type of grain, and a big batch of veggies. And like we would just eat on that all week long. We're still alive and kicking. I need to do more research about this, but there's some like serious drama about like leftover rice. So it has inspired me. I'm gonna eat my leftover burrito bowl so that I'm not keeping rice for more than like a day. I don't know. But anyway, I'm gonna feed my son his chicken nuggets and tater tots. I do put a fruit on his plate, so don't judge me too hard. But yes, we are a chicken nugget tot kind of family. 9 times out of 10. It does make me feel really bad for parents that raised little children in the era that did not involve an air fryer. Like if I had to do this in the oven, forget it. You'd be eating a sandwich every single day. My kid loves a tater tot and he loves a chicken nugget. So I'm gonna give him this and then we're gonna put him down for an early nap. Baby, we're not gonna have a banana right now. But we will have an apple. Apple. Oaken's toy. Can you put it in the other room so we don't lose it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna go feed my kid.
In audio.
Oh, wow, great job. That was heavy, huh? It's hard. Good job. You? Over here? One more. Awesome. Thank you. Okay, because I'm not in my car, I don't have my car mount. The toddler did not nap very late at all. And I got the call from my husband that the car is done. So I have to go get him this afternoon to bring him to where my car is so we can, the whole thing. Anyway, so I wasn't thinking I was gonna be able to get to where my mom is, but considering it's only 2:30 and the kids already been up for like a half an hour, I've made myself a nice little ice latte. Ooh, that's actually really good. So I didn't put any syrup in it this time. I just did brown sugar and cocoa powder and then did 2 shots of espresso and milk. So I'm gonna have that on our drive over to Wake Forest and spend some time with my madre. I know I mentioned this in a previous vlog, but like I really used to be on top of my life. I really used to be on top of like my to-dos, my schedule, cleaning, laundry, rotating the refrigerator out. I used to be so on top of all of those things and I liked how being on top of those things made me feel. I feel like I showed up as a better person in the world when I showed up like that for myself. If I panned around my kitchen right now, I hate living like this and yet somehow here we are. And it's just like there's just not enough time in the day. I don't know. I hate making that statement. I hate making that excuse because that's not true. There are plenty of hours in the day. I need to be better about it, but I also need to recognize that this season of life that we're in right now is hard. It's exhausting. And I'm not really in control of my day and my time. And that's frustrating to me because I don't know how a tiny little human has such a grip on how I exist in the world. But that all being said, I'm gonna make dinner, which I had mapped out our meals for the week, and then I had to go to the store. I don't remember what I had to go to the store for, but they had our favorite meatballs in stock. If you guys have these in your grocery store, run, don't walk. Not the blue ones, not the red ones, the green ones. They are so good. They've got like a mix of sausage in there somehow. They snap when you eat them. Oh, they're so good. And I did also discover that you can make them in the air fryer in a lot less time. So that's what we're gonna do tonight. I'm gonna make ravioli to go with it. Is it the healthiest dinner? No. Is it a dinner that's gonna be ready in under 20 minutes with very little cleanup? Yep. With very little prep? Yep. So, and is it something that everyone's gonna eat? Yep. So, is it something that's generally gonna have leftovers and we can either eat it as a meatball sandwich or wait till we eat the pasta tomorrow? Yep. So, again, we make the choices we make for the reasons that we make them. Let's throw these in the air fryer. I'm also dreaming about the popcorn that I want to eat after after dinner, after my shower, with the like white cheddar seasoning on it. I've been thinking about that since lunch. I was gonna eat it at lunch, and then like immediately after I finished eating my bowl, Wade woke up. So post dinner popcorn will happen. What do you have? Is this one for Mama? Thank you.
Good help. Hey.
Did you tell Dad that you helped us help unload the dishwasher earlier today without even being asked? He just did it?
Hey, did you help Mom do the dishwasher today? Are you such a big boy?
Yeah!
Do you want to help Dad put up a new gate here? Okay,
He's
we gotta
like,
take this whole
heck no, because that means it's gonna keep me from getting where I want to go. Did you show Dad your new nugget setup? It's not a snack. You can have the box if you want. This is the best soap in case you need a soap recommendation. It's the Calm and Soothe Lavender Jasmine from Dial. It smells like exactly that, calming and soothing. And I take like 10-minute showers and it makes my 10-minute shower very happy. Yeah.
Boot is torn, but it doesn't really cover bushing or what I need to do the whole up.
Okay.
Hey, are you gonna help Dad?
Apartment album on Spotify. It's officially time for the best part of the night. Popcorn, white cheddar seasoning. This has been an obsession of mine since college, and it's still, I mean, there have been times in my life where I've survived solely on popcorn. I am gonna let this pop. I'm gonna dress it up. I'm gonna go sit on the couch, and I'm going to watch a very old season of Bachelor in Paradise. I just read that book, Heart to Heart by Sarah Furlong Burr, and it reignited my love for the Bachelor franchise. I used to watch it years and years ago, and I don't remember why I stopped. I feel like maybe it was a situation where like we no longer had live TV and it was just like a whole thing. I don't know, maybe that's why. Anyway, doesn't matter. I stopped watching it. I haven't watched it in a very long time, and it used to be like one of my favorite like stupid ways to relax. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for hanging out with me while I chatted your ear off today. Apparently I was in desperate need of like someone to talk to, and you guys were it, so I hope that's okay. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe, and I will see you guys again very, very soon. Bye.